Engineer Dieudonné from the African Development Bank. You have kindly accepted to comment from the floor. So I invite you to comment, please. Let me refer to a question that was asked by Mr. Abdel Shaker. He's attending with us and he wrote a question on the chat. Mr. Abdel, would you please say your question out loud? Mr. Abdel Shaker.
Yes, I mean, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please. Okay. Please.
My question is, Dr. Francois, is the early warning system include floods and earthquakes? I know earthquakes cannot be predicted early warnings, but are floods part of the early warning system? And my second question was, what is the expected contribution from a country to be a member of this system? Did you approach Egypt for this membership? That's it.
Please, Dr. Francois, please go ahead.
Okay, yeah, thank you for the questions. On the first question, we are developing now the flood component of our early warning system. The flood modeling is actually quite complex, so that's why it has been a bit slower in developing. So, but it will be added soon. Hopefully, at the end of this year, we have it added to our portfolio. Earthquake, yeah, as you said, it's unpredictable. So we are not attempting at all to predict the earthquake, but perhaps Dr. Farouk can talk about that from a geological point of view. Regarding what is the expected contribution for countries to join ARC, yeah, the basic step is to sign the treaty. So then the country join the mechanism. I think most of the African Union member states have been approached, but the negotiations take time. So some countries have been the early adopters of the system and signed the treaty. Others are, we're still discussing with some of our other countries that they have not yet joined the system, the mechanism. One of the, I can say also that one of the reasons some countries did not join since the beginning, it was because some countries thought that the mechanism was mainly to provide resources for air response, and then they thought that actually for them they can easily mobilize resources to respond, that perhaps they don't need this insurance mechanism. But now there are countries that are actually realizing that can be actually useful to have this insurance mechanism, because it can be a way of transferring the risk to international market instead of keeping it internally and also having an impact on the budget of the government. So I think things are evolving. We hope that more countries will join. It will be good indeed to have big countries like Egypt to join the mechanism, because then it gives more power, also more, it becomes more important also in terms of the volume of transactional discussions, or the importance that you have, the weight that we have in international fora will be actually better, will be greater. But also it's a mechanism, it's a way also to show solidarity across the continent, because the whole mechanism assume that the disaster will not happen at the same time everywhere. So they were putting together the risk so that we can manage, and it will be less expensive if we're putting all together our risk, we're having this solidarity mechanism. I think it is important actually to try now to convince also some countries that may feel that they don't need this mechanism, also to have kind of, solidarity, regional solidarity, because we cannot always speak about others, asking others to intervene, if we cannot also be, build the solidarity with our neighbors. You are on mute, Dr. Abla.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I'm saying regional solidarity is critical at this stage, because the disaster tends to move from one place to the other. And Dr. Farouk, is the movement of Africa away from the Ecuador line, is this related to what's happening with the climate, or is related to another natural phenomena. Is it related to this? Does it link to the natural disasters and their frequency?
Of course it does, and it is, but the effects were much larger in the past, because for instance, North Africa was not a desert before. It was a savanna-like environment. We had all kinds of lakes. We find remains of giraffe and all kinds of animals in the Western Desert in Egypt when North Africa was much closer to the equator then, and it moved up and moved up, and now it has been locked with Europe, as I said, because it pushed Europe and the Alps formed, and therefore there is a lock. So it is now the environment of North Africa right now, or actually the environment of all of Africa, has stabilized in this form. Right now it is stable, it does not change, and only whatever happens would be because of the fact that some of that pressure remains from the old days, and some of that pressure would cause cracks somewhere, and the cracks would cause some earthquakes somewhere. But earthquakes do occur, but they do not occur with such not too close to each other, so they're not really they do not represent a real danger.
Okay, thank you very much. We have with us Engineer Dieudonné Goudou. I believe you're in, sir. You're here. He's not yet in. Okay, and he's going to comment. Let me take questions from the floor. Okay, since Dr. Ahmed doesn't seem to be coming, and I hope he's okay. No show is usually an impossible scenario, except if there is an emergency of some kind. So I certainly hope he's okay. Any questions from the floor? Everything is crystal clear, or the topic is too technical for people to comment on? Okay, and I have
a question. I have a question, if you don't mind.
Okay, wait a second. There is actually a question on the chat. Good afternoon and greetings from ESP. And we would like to ask the speakers if they think the G20 could play a useful role in supporting the provision of capital and also capacity building to put swiftly in place these systems. Thank you very much. And that's a very important question. Dr. Francois?
I think you can answer that yourself.
No,
Dr. Abdel, yes. I think it's a question for you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, indeed. I think this is I think the G20 is one of the forum that actually has made pledge and about supporting countries also to respond to climate risk impact. I think still they can do more, and there have been some programs supported by G20, but I think that there's a possibility to do more with the G20. As we said, most of the countries actually lack these resources, this capacity, so that will be a way also to support them. And that's why I think this investing in the early warning and the disaster risk reduction is also about investing in a business, because then you also support you avoid business disruption. So when I was mentioning the regional solidarity, sometimes also it's better to support your neighbor get out of the problems, so that they can also have a better business. You can trade, so you get also somehow benefits from having a more friendly environment for business and for other activities. Beyond, I'm saying this just because sometimes we think in terms of humanitarian actions only, and sometimes people say, okay, that's just for charity or whatever. But in terms of our business, also there is an interest, and there are benefits for disaster risk reduction.
I think this angle of business disruption needs to be emphasized, so that you bring the international interest way more. The G20 is interested in the G20 and the interest of the G20, I don't think that Africa is on the map. Okay, and it is critical that the South speaks up, that the South makes a difference. Okay, and pushes for their interests. So talking about the business disruption will probably make this more attractive for them to provide capital. This is my take, or what I say on creating more interest by the G20. But thank you for your answer. Dr. Farouk, would you like to add something here?
Yes, if we have one voice for all of African nations, we can certainly have everybody pay attention and make absolutely certain that we have a component and we have gripes and we have the responsibility, as well as we have a place in this world and we can do much better, and they would deal with us in a much better way if African nations join together as one, which is in our hands. We can do it.
Now we can do it, and we're asking for it. And just a couple of months ago, we had by the Rockefeller Foundation a very interesting meeting. It was organized in Bellagio, and the entire South was there. And we actually produced a statement that was quite powerful in the name of the South. Okay, and I believe it was actually the statement was made during the G20 to make the case for the South and the need to pay attention to this part of the world, especially that we can actually make a difference. When you think of the climate, as you correctly mentioned, Africa alone can feed the world. Africa's forests alone can improve the quality of the climate in the entire earth. So we definitely need to pay a lot of attention to them. Engineer Goudou, I see you in the list of participants. Are you there? He's not responding. Are there any questions? Any more questions from the floor on the issue? There was a question that's about to be said, and then I read the one. I read the question from ECES.
Okay. Well, I'm back again for my question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Please.
Yeah. Okay. I have an interesting suggestion maybe for Dr. Francois, because you know the insurance. I'm from the insurance sector. I'm an engineer at the same time. The insurance sector pay billions of dollars of losses for natural disasters every year. So I think the African reinsurance company and many of the reinsurers of the natural catastrophes would be interested to be a member of your organization, because you're going to save them lots of money. I know that the Arab Insurance Federation have discussed this last year in a webinar, and they were thinking about having funds and a pool fund for the natural disaster. So I think your early warning system can save them lots of money, and I can put you in contact with them, with the management, so probably they can be a member of your organization. Thank you. Dr.
Francois?
Yeah, oh, yeah, thank you very much indeed for that comment. Indeed, yeah, you're right. And I think the insurance sector is also one of the, I think, the consumer of early warning systems, and especially risk modeling, because they have many business in that area. Please, you can do so, and I will share the contacts with our colleagues in the insurance department, because we have another department. I'm the head of the research department, but we have another department dealing with the insurance transactions.
Okay. Thank you for the question, Dr. Adel. Along the same lines.
Oui.
Okay, Dr. Farouk, please.
No, I just wanted to ask you to please. Hello, I just wanted to request that I would leave because of the fact that I got an unplanned call from the new astronauts in Houston. They want me to talk to them about what we did with Apollo. This is the astronauts of the Artemis mission, the future mission. So that was unplanned. So I want to prepare myself for it. So may I be excused, please?
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your participation. Really appreciate it.
Before I leave, I got to mention the fact that Rana in your office has been most effective and most helpful. So I want to salute Rana, one of your assistants. Thank you very much.
I will. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I heard finally the voice of of Engineer Dieudonné Goudou. I heard you. Please unmute. He tried to enter something. It's very, very strange is happening with the connections these days. Yes. Dr. Goudou? He doesn't seem to be.
Yeah, I'm there.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you. Here.
Good
Yes,
morning.
hello.
I'm so another meeting. We have so many meetings that we are organizing. Good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to let me close this. Yeah. Excuse me, just.
And hear the other meeting in French.
Okay, do you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so my name is Dieudonné Goudou. I'm a climate risk and disaster specialist at the ClimDev. The ClimDev is a special fund, a trust fund that based in the Department of Climate Change and Green Growth at the bank, African Development Bank. Mm-hmm. Concerning the conference, I want to say that, ClimDev, since ClimDev started operation in 2014, we support the countries, the national met and hydro services. We also support the climate centers for developing the numeric weather prediction. So many equipment were bought to the climate centers, also for the countries. For the investment we have done since 5 years or 6 years is around 36 million euros. The investment, the financing, the investment we support to the climate centers and the countries for equipment, but also for developing hearing water system, in the countries. So the capacity building we have done, the first time we installed 4 stations to collect data from satellite. This is the first time in Africa that we use our own station. We install 1 station in Niger, 1 station in Gabon for the Central Africa. Niger is West Africa. We installed 1 station in ICPAC for Eastern countries, and 1 station in Cameroon for SADC region. So we support the climate center with HPCs to develop numeric weather prediction. We support the countries for cluster to receive those prediction developed by the climate centers, and other equipment, computers to support the communities on the regional institution. We also support so many meetings organizing by the climate center with the countries for the prediction in that region, for each region that we're supporting. So what I want to say is for investment opportunity, we are developing now for sustainability, because all those need sustainability. That's very important, because if you are funding too much equipment that we are not working for the sustainability, that's the problem. So now CDSF are at the end for the first phase, and now we are in the transition. We are developing the second phase of CDSF, and the service at that second phase, we are mobilizing a lot of resources. But the second phase will be launched at the COP27. That is what we want to do. We want to launch the CDSF. And also, meantime, the bank also work on the AFD Fund 16. The AFD 16, we mobilize a lot of resources for climate change. And these resources we will have to sustain what we have done in the climate center, and also for the climate, for the countries. We also developing partnership with WMO with other partners for SOF. As you know, SOF, we have at the first phase, the first stage to support 8 countries with the SOF, and then we come back to support other countries. We also developing the alliance of partnership with Hydromet to work on the yearly water system. We also support also the community-based activities, because what we have done now, the gap we have is a communication for yearly water system. We have a problem of communication. So what we want to do now, we have the approach of bottom-up approach. Bottom-up approach. If you see what happened in southern region with the impact of a cyclone, all the region of Safala impacted by the cyclone, they have serious problem. All the equipment wash away. The equipment they have, automatic station, synoptic station, radars all wash away. So what we want to do is to give the responsibility for the communities to protect the equipment. They can also learn how to read the equipment to send to collect data, and they send data to the national level. All this is a new thing that we want to do using the digital solution for the communities. You know, yearly warning system for us is meant for community. The first phase we have done, it was equipment, but equipment not solve the problem. The problem is also community side. Develop the build the capacity of community. Also involve the gender, the women. Now there are so many women work on that side. How we come to train the women for yearly warning system. So I was in Maputo last week for the Southern Africa Ministerial meeting. And this meeting was on the yearly warning system and the yearly action. So we came out with 26 recommendations that we need to work on that, because the COP27 is coming in Egypt. So everything will be ready. We also have the declaration of ACOMET, the ministerial meeting, that we have a declaration, and this declaration go through to support the countries, to support the institution, the regional institution. All this will be sort of. Also, lastly, what I want to say is we want to launch the ClimDev Africa, the second phase at the COP27. That's very important, and then we will develop a partnership. We make the partnership meeting to mobilize the resources for the second phase of ClimDev. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer Goudou. Dr. Francois, is this support for the countries enough for you? The support is coming from the bottom up, focusing on the communities, okay? Not on the governments as such. And
yeah, we can do both the two. You know, the thing is, for me, since I'm working 30 years, we do not put a lot of money in the community. We do not put a lot of money. If we take a lot of money, we put in the national level for the national med services. We don't do nothing for the communities. That's very important, because for disaster risk management, the community need to be we need to build the capacity of the community through the platform. You know, we have a platform in the countries. We need also have the platform, this platform in the local area, in the regional area. So in this platform, we have the communities. We hear what the community want us, they need. That's very important to develop the yearly warning system based community. That's very important.
No, I think you're absolutely
this is what the CDSF want to form in the next coming years. We're going to work through the community to develop the communication, because the communication is very important. This is what the gap we have. We do not work too much on communication to the communities.
And at the minimum, the communities will be able to help themselves. Okay, they will be able to help themselves.
Exactly, this is what we want. Let them to help themselves, because when you go to the community, you bring the equipment. You don't talk to them. What is that? They don't take care about it. But let us, the community themselves, install equipment. They can read rent Goja. You know, they can rent. There are many equipment that the community can also install. They can read the information and send the information to the national level by mobile phone. That is
the other way around. I think, Dr. Francois, I want you to comment on this. Okay, if the equipment are going to be with the communities, and this is actually a very important approach. Okay, with this substitute the need for complement for sure, but can it substitute at the present stage the need for capacity building of governments in that area of the early warning systems or not? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that I told you, you know, that, you know, what we have done everywhere I have gone in Africa, the always is the traditional knowledge we have, the traditional capacity building we have, the community, how to say, the government give money to the net services, the med services, always. But all they are doing, I don't know, the communities are not getting the information, you know. They are not getting information. What happened in Mozambique for cyclone, because we were there after the cyclone I died, we went there to see what is happening in the community. We see that the community are not involved at all. They're not involved in activities. So this is a word of organization that everything washed away when we have a cyclone. When the community says that this equipment is from them, they can take care of that. That's very important. They can take care of that. So, do know, we need to have something like a politics, the politics at the national level, that to support the community, to develop the project. So what I want to say, we can develop a community-based adaptation project, the community-based adaptation project. So in this project, through this project, we can help the local people. We can train them, we can support them for equipment. We can do many things with the community. If we do it like that, the things will be better. And this is what the African Development Bank want to do in this future.
Thank you very much, Engineer Goudou. Dr. Francois, what more do you need from the African Development Bank? The rest of the wish list.
Okay. African Development.
What more do you want?
When you speak about the bank, what we always say is we need more money. But then I think from what Dieudonné said, what they are doing actually is complementary to basically what we need, because they are also supporting in terms of infrastructure. They are providing support for infrastructure, which is very important because you need to collect data at regular basis, but also accurate data. But there is the question about the community. Actually, it's important because nowadays we have seen we are in a very different environment than where we were 20 years ago. Now, thanks to the availability of communication technologies, especially based on everything which is based on internet, being the social media, etc., that being more affordable, more accessible to everybody, you have seen that now some big companies are tapping into what we call crowdsourcing. Actually, you are using the community knowledge to build something. I think a typical example is what we call OpenStreetMap. Is the most accurate database of streets networks has been built by the communities, OpenStreetMap. I think in the same area, in terms of disaster risk management, we should also expect and try also to start investing in community, using the community people to help actually in these early warning systems, also in the building better disaster risk management systems. But still, there is always the mandate and the obligation of the public powers, the government, to protect its own people. So I think also the government cannot transfer the responsibility to the people they have to protect. I think there is a room of collaboration and tapping into the resources available at the community level. being about deploying those systems and having the let's say weather stations installed in the different places, and the people reporting out themselves to a central system that is then disseminated to everyone. Being about for disseminating the air warning information coming from meteor services. I think there is a room indeed of building a more complex, I would say, not necessarily complex, but actually having this collaboration complementarity between public powers and the communities.
Yeah, if you allow me, Latif, I can.
Yes, please.
I can develop more of it that concerning the bank. Don't know what we want from the countries. Don't know the bank finance. We fund the project through our strategic, country strategic. That's very important. If the country doesn't have the country strategy, we cannot fund anything. So what we want concerning the disaster risk management, we want to have a strategy on disaster risk management for each country. If they don't have the strategy risk management, they need to integrate disaster risk management into the climate change strategy. That's very important. But also, we also want those strategies at the local level. Those strategies at the local level with the budgetization, they need to make a budgetization for each activity they want. If they want automatic station at the local level, this strategy, the action plan, the planning they have, need to identify equipment, meeting, so many things. All these things need to be budgetized. That we need to have a budget for that. So no, this is what the partner want. If the country doesn't have all those strategies, they don't have all those planning action with the budget, it's a bit very difficult to find. So this is what we are recommending. We are recommending for the country to do.
I think you're absolutely correct in everything related to the climate and even to any other kind of support. If the country does not have a strategy, of its own on how it's going to manage things, and it doesn't have it cut and described in details at the local level with a budget, how can you help them?
Exactly.
It's very important. How can you help them? Okay?
Exactly.
Yeah, very, very important. So a strategy is necessary, okay? Working with the community, okay? For them to be able to help themselves and send signals, actually.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And at the same time, the government needs to have the capacity. So I think the African Development Bank is definitely going in the right direction because it is supporting the countries at exactly what they need: the capacity building of the governments, the capacity building of the communities, educating everyone about the early disasters, and definitely this is very, very critical, very, very critical. Okay, thank you very much, Engineer Goudou. I'm sorry for taking you out of the other meeting. Thank you.
No, it's okay. Thank you, Latif.
Thank you.
Don't hesitate. If you want to use me, I can collaborate closely with you.
You will be used, by the way. I will contact you for something else.
No, let us work for the COP27. We have so many things to do at the COP27.
Absolutely. Let's arrange a Zoom call for the event itself and see what we can do together.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, we'll do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and salam.
You're welcome, salam. Dr. Francois, thank you so very much. Okay, and for all your comments and for your patience and your very serious contribution to this. And I really have to thank Mr. Ibrahimia for recommending you. Okay. And as a key speaker from the African Risk Capacity Group, and also to thank him for all the effort that are done by this particular organization. I think you're doing great at a lot of levels, and this is all to the benefit of Africa. Thank you so much. I think if there are no questions from the audience at this point, I think we are going to close a bit early. It hasn't happened before. It's happening because we have a missing speaker, but we are going to close now. And thank you so much, Dr. Francois, and thank you, everyone. We are going to have our coming webinar is going to be next week on the adaptation plans of the different countries. It's going to be on Tuesday as well. Not sure if it's going to be from 3 to 5 or from 11 to 1. It will be clear in the invitation, but I look forward to seeing all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you.